I'll be your host today, and again, welcome. This is again the first session of the FutureEd series. It's really an ongoing web series. Our aim is to educate the community to stay ahead in this fast-changing world, to have more conversations about how to be more future-geared in our careers. Throughout this series, we'll be hearing from industry leaders and experts of various fields, learning from their experiences, as well as discovering the opportunities available. I think this is especially relevant if you are a high school student or even if you are a pre-U student or a working adult, because, well, we can all move towards preparing for the future together, right? Our topic today is Future Proof with Computing Studies, and we are very honored to have two guest speakers with us today, MCKL's Academic Dean, Dr. Gerard Boy, and Mr. Jackson Yench from the University of South Australia. Just a little housekeeping before we start. If you have any questions during the talk, please feel free to type them in the Q&A session at the bottom of your screen. The speakers will have some time to address your questions right at the end of the talk. Okay, our team will also respond to any questions in writing whenever they can. So yes, feel free to leave your questions there below in the Q&A section. Now, without further ado, let me introduce you our first speaker, Dr. Gerard Boy. He is our principal cum academic dean and has over 30 years of combined work experience in engineering, ICT, and education sectors. In addition to his life in academia for the past 13 years, he was in various senior management positions in industry. He was involved in various research and development grants as well. His current passion is in the field of ICT pedagogy integration for education. I will now pass the time to Dr. Gerard to speak with us on the topic of future proofing with computing studies. Dr. Gerard?
Hi, thank you, Sujan. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, okay. So, very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Gerard Boy. And first of all, and foremost, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Jackson Yench from the University of South Australia, who has taken time to actually be with us today. So today's talk is the first talk of a series of talks, as mentioned by Sujay. And under this FutureEd Series program, which is organized by MCKL in collaboration with partners and also prominent speakers on the need to be future-proof. Okay, how do we make ourselves future-proof? Okay, what does that mean? Okay, let me continue with my presentation. Okay, future-proof is the steps we take to anticipate the future by equipping ourselves the knowledge, skills, and attitudes to overcome effects of change, which is very, very common nowadays. So the questions to you is, how do you prepare yourself, okay, to overcome change and to be future-proof? That is the question, okay? And my talk today is about MCKL's way in preparing graduates to be future-proof. Let's move on to the next slide. So I would like to share with you this graduate competency framework that's developed as part of the MCKL's DNA. So let me start by sharing this. So basically, this consists of three main areas, namely the area of knowledge that we would like to develop in a student, skills related to learning skills, innovation skills, digital smarts, and so on and so forth. And the third part is attitudes, developing progressive lifelong learners. So with these three components, we see that our graduates will one day be very competent when they graduate, and so that they can have job security in the future. So this is the blueprint that we have developed to develop our students and graduates to have the right competency to be future-proof and to secure jobs of the future. So let me explain to you in detail what's happening right now in the world and how this framework is so crucial and important to develop our students and eventual graduates and working adults. So let me give you a background of what's happening, okay? In a world that is changing rapidly, we are experiencing frequent changes that we that have disrupted our lives and livelihoods that we have never experienced in the past. Okay, let me share with you two phenomena that we are facing right now as a society, and also having the right literacy will help us cope better with rapid changes. Literacy used to be the ability to read and write, So in today's world, the ability to read and write is just not enough. Okay, each and every one of us must possess the right knowledge, skills as important as knowledge, and the attitudes to actually navigate in this 21st century. Okay, let me tell you why. First of all, I hope you have heard, or maybe you have not heard of this term, exponential growth of knowledge. So this is the first phenomenon that I would like to share with you, so that you know what's happening right now. So according to this Buckminster, who is an American architect, as well as a designer, inventor, and also a futurist, coined the term knowledge doubling curve. When he started to see the world's knowledge doubling more frequently as we move from the 20th century to the 21st century. According to him, in the 1900s, knowledge doubles every century. Every 100 years, knowledge doubles. So by the 1940s, after the World War II, knowledge was doubling every 25 years. So it's getting faster from 100 years to 25 years. Currently, on average, human knowledge is doubling every 13 months. And that's what's happening right now. And very soon, according to IBM, with the advent of the Industrial Revolution 4.0, as well as the Internet of Things, okay, will actually lead to the doubling of knowledge every 12 hours. Just imagine the change, okay, the amount of knowledge that will be generated because of IoT, Internet of Things, and Industrial Revolution 4.0. This is where we will see the exponential growth of knowledge and discoveries happening in as we speak. Okay, so what does this really mean to us, and how will it affect us, all of us, not me, not you, but all of us? So let's move on. So this is happening. This is a phenomenon that's happening right now. And the other phenomenon, second phenomenon that I would like to is happening very frequently today, is the acceleration as a result of the exponential growth of knowledge that is fueled by the Internet of Things. Sujane, can you hear me? Because my internet was not very stable, I noticed.
You were lagging for a moment, but you are fine now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me repeat this second phenomenon, which is the disruptive innovation, which is happening more frequently right now. So basically, this is accelerated as a result of the exponential growth of knowledge. So when there is a lot of knowledge that is available, therefore there will be a lot of innovations, and these innovations that happens are very disruptive. When it's disruptive, it means that it will change a lot of things that we are so common. So okay, that's why it's called disruptive innovation. But in layman terms, what is this disruptive innovation? Basically, it's just making new things that make old things obsolete. As simple as that. Okay, and this is happening much more frequent when. So imagine if major changes happen more frequent within a generation, what effects will it have, okay, on our lives and on our work? So how do we overcome these rapid changes and challenges? How do we prepare ourselves, okay, to face all these disruptive innovations that we see is coming towards us? So I'll give you some examples here to explain to you so that you understand what is disruptive innovation and how it has affected workers and people's jobs. So let me share with you some example here. As a result of disruptive innovation has changed many industries, closed certain industries and developed new industries, okay, for the past 20 to 25 years. So for example, the start of the internet and the arrival of 4G and 5G has actually given rise to the new businesses that has disrupted traditional businesses. In this case, we have the internet and broadband that has disrupted traditional video rental businesses. Maybe some of you here are too young to understand what is video rental businesses, but during my time, about 20, 30 years ago, okay, we do not have the internet. Go to a shop to actually rent a video cassette and come back home and watch that show, okay, by renting that show. That was in the past, okay, and that was a very, very big business. That's how videos were distributed, okay, then. But because of the advent of the internet and the broadband, so all these businesses that were flourishing 20, 30 years ago was not able to compete, okay? So what happened is basically this example of Netflix services in the span of 10 years because of the internet and broadband has eventually bankrupted the largest video rental company, Blockbuster, in the US. So now when this happens, new types of jobs are created, okay? That requires new knowledge and skills. Whereas workers of traditional jobs become obsolete. So how do we overcome such disruptive changes in the employment industry? Okay, so this is happening right now, and it has been happening for the last 20, 30 years, and it's getting faster and more frequent. Okay, so we have to notice that this is happening and how we can actually cope with this when we are in the so-called work environment. So another example I would like to show you is the demise of Kodak. Okay, Kodak used to be a very big company. Here is another example of disruptive innovation again. Digital imaging technologies has actually disrupted traditional film-based camera industry like Kodak, okay, that led to the demise of the company. So again, thousands of jobs were displaced, okay? So have you ever wondered what happened to these employees of Kodak? The only way is to reinvent ourselves, okay, to basically be able to adapt to new job types through upskilling and reskilling. Okay, this is easier said than done, okay, but we have to face this scenario and this situation, which is happening more frequently, as I said earlier. So other examples would be this, which is more relevant to young people today. So I believe that you know what is Grab driver. I believe you know what is a toy factory operator and a food delivery rider. So here are some examples of jobs that are currently available, okay, but are very labor intensive, that will actually become obsolete very soon as a result of more disruptive innovations. For example, a Grab driver may not have a job tomorrow because of artificial intelligence. Drivers of e-hailing companies like Grab will emerge, that has emerged for the last 10 years, will soon be replaced by autonomous driven vehicles powered by artificial intelligence, right? This is driverless cars, you know, you don't need a driver to pick you up and move you to your destination, right? So another example would be toy factory workers will eventually be out of jobs. Why? Because 3D printing exists today and it's becoming more advanced. You can even print your own 3D toys, you know, on demand, you see. And then you have food delivery riders will be replaced by drones. Yeah, this will result in new types of jobs that requires us to upskill and reskill. So there are a lot of changes and it's happening very fast. So how do we cope? Okay, the question is, how do we cope? So according to the World Economic Forum here, 65% of our children today will end up working in completely new types of jobs that don't exist yet, you know. Okay, so how do we train you so that you'll be able to cope in the future? We don't even know what types of jobs will come by in the next 5 or 10 years. So what do we do as educators? Okay, so I'm going to give you a solution, and this is how we at MCKL will be able to help students to actually overcome this. Okay, and all this is happening because of the two phenomena that I've explained to you earlier. The exponential growth of knowledge that leads to a lot of discoveries, and these discoveries leads to a lot of innovations, and some of these innovations are very disruptive. When it's disruptive, what it means that when this change, a lot of norms will change as well. A lot of things that are happening for you on a normal day will change. Okay, and because of that, we have to be able to adapt and to be able to foresee what can happen and how do we change ourselves so that we become relevant in society. So you got to think about this. That's what's happening right now, and soon you will be able to cope with it as well. Okay, moving forward. So now, how can we possibly deal with this disruptive innovation, and how do we prepare our graduates, okay, to cope with this? So let's go back to the graduate competency framework. Okay, besides obtaining knowledge through formal education, like getting a diploma or degree qualification, then becoming a discipline expert, our focus is very much on developing essential skills, okay, and attitudes that will enable our graduates to cope with the frequent changes in society. So having the right learning and innovation skills and digital smarts are fundamental skills to develop independent learners who can actually deal with change through the process of continuous learning, okay, and develop attitudes of a progressive lifelong learner will inculcate a quest for knowledge and continuous personal improvement. So right now, what I'm trying to say to you is that this framework allows us to develop a complete graduate that not only graduate with a diploma or a degree in the future, but also develop skills of learning and innovation, skills that is related to the digital world, and also the attitude, the right attitude to be a progressive lifelong learner. So learning is no more a chore, but a lifestyle. So learning is going to be continuous, okay? So if you have this attitude in you, you should be able to continue to cope with change that is happening very fast. And that will make you competent in a way, and this will lead to what we call job security. So that is our framework, and that's how we train our students to be competent graduates and workers in the future. So let's look at this. Learning and innovation skills will actually enable our graduates to think critically, to be creative and innovative, and at the same time be able to effectively communicate and collaborate with others to achieve goals. Okay, they will actually have the skills to learn how to learn independently, and also the ability to focus on what to learn as they cope with change. So learning what to learn is as important as learning how to learn. Okay, therefore learning and innovation skills are important skills to cope with the 21st century. And having digital smarts also gave our graduates the ability to develop information literacy, to access the right information at the right moment, and have the skills to determine the credibility of information that they read or receive. Media literacy develops their skills to use rich multimedia artifacts, okay, to communicate and collaborate effectively online and offline, okay. Nowadays, you do not only write emails, you may even record a demonstration and send it as a message. So you must be able to use multimedia to actually communicate and collaborate, okay? And the other one is ICT literacy. ICT literacy helps develop adopters of technologies and to use the technology to gain an advantage, okay? So these are the skills that's available that we will develop in our students. And of course, we work with ICDL, which is a professional body on developing digital skills. And we have a cluster of programs that we embed into our programs to develop competent graduates that has the ability to secure jobs of the future. Okay, another idea I would like to share with you is the concept of to cultivate lifelong learning attitudes. And according to The Economist, lifelong learning is an economic imperative. It becomes so important that, you know, it will help you to be able to survive in a very new environment as things change over time and as frequent as change is happening right now. So you have to be able to cultivate lifelong attitudes, lifelong learning attitudes that will actually benefit you. Moving on, of course, there are a lot of opportunities for learning. to learn today is endless on the internet. As knowledge exponentially grows, the amount of online content grows exponentially as well. The amount of learning opportunities are endless as well with the growth of micro-credentials. These micro-credentials are short courses that you can complete within a day or two, okay? And it's everywhere on the internet. It's on Coursera, it's on ICDL, it's on FutureLearn, and so many platforms, okay? Therefore, with learning and innovation skills, as well as digital smarts, the two skills earlier that I mentioned, and the attitude for lifelong learning, all this will enable you to cope with disruptive innovations, okay, that is changing the landscape of industries and also employment. So the platform is there for you to continue to grow. So there's no excuse to say that, I'm not trained in this field, therefore I'm not able to do this job. Okay, that is not going to be what you will say in the future. You will be saying that, okay, if I do not know this, what I can do is I can take up a short course online to learn that idea, that's knowledge, that skill, and be able to participate in your new job. Okay, so that is going to be very, very common. Okay, learning is no more in the college environment. Learning can be anywhere right now. So to share a bit about MCKL, these are some of the programs that we have. We have pre-university programs like A-levels and OSMED. We have American degree program. We have a range of diploma programs and also professional accounting programs. And we work with professional professional partners, content providers such as ICDL, Amazon Web Services, and SaaS Institute to better equip our graduates by embedding some of these professional courses in our academic program. And we also with University of South Australia to articulate our students from the diploma to the degrees in Australia as well. And here are some of our industry partners, okay, that we work with so that our students can actually be placed for internships as well as future jobs in job market. So that's the end of my talk. So thank you for listening, and I'll end my talk by passing it over to Sujane so that our guests can give a short talk as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gerard. Thank you for reminding that change doesn't happen only linearly, but it's happening at an exponential rate here, and we all need to be prepared to cope with the changing times, the disruptive innovations that coming, and even new jobs that don't exist just yet. And we can do this, right, based on Dr. Gerard's talk, by developing skills, digital skills, as well as learning skills. Not just knowing what to learn, but how to learn ourselves. So I think we would all be on a lifelong journey of learning together here. Just for those who just joined us, for your information, Dr. Gerard is our principal cum academic dean and has over 30 years of work experience in engineering, ICT, and education centers. He has spent 13 years in academia, held various senior management positions, and was involved in multiple research and development grants as well. And yeah, his current passion, if you can't already tell, is really in the field of ICT pedagogy integration for education, really bringing education towards the digital era. Now, for your information, like Ms. Dr. Gerard just mentioned, we have a partnership with University of South Australia, and that's why Mr. Jackson Yench is with us today. Our next speaker, Mr. Jackson Yench, is the manager of International Business Development. He's in charge of the university's IT, engineering, environment, aviation, and education programs. He takes care of business development, marketing, and international student recruitment. If you have any questions throughout the talk, by the way, please feel free to type them in the Q&A section below, and Dr. Gerard and Mr. Jackson will be happy to address them right at the end of this talk. But for now, I'll pass our time to the next speaker, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you so much, Sujane, and I'm just going to share my screen here. There we go. Okay, thanks so much, and it's really lovely to be on this webinar today. Thank you, Dr. Gerard. That was a really interesting presentation there, and I'm looking forward to linking the things that you mentioned into what I'm going to talk about, which is talking about the future, which is what this is all about, these future education series. But I'm talking about the future beyond your pre-university or your diplomas into university. Of course, I'm from the University of South Australia, as Sujane mentioned. And so today I'm going to be specifically talking to you about your future that could be here. Because as we mentioned, Methodist College does have a collaboration with the University of South Australia. I'm not going to go into all the detail now, but you can see right here that this collaboration is from the Methodist College Diploma in Computer Science or Diploma in IT into some of our programs that we have in the area of IT, Computer Science and Data Science. But let's start first with talking about who we are, UniSA. We are UniSA, the University of South Australia, located in the city of Adelaide, which, if you don't know where that is, it's 1 hour flight from Melbourne and a 2-hour flight from Sydney. Now, Adelaide, I've got the Economist Intelligence Unit stat for you as well. Adelaide is actually the world's 3rd most livable city. So I grew up here. I can attest to that myself, but it is a really beautiful place to live, to study and to work. And I just want to show you a few images just to get you inspired. Adelaide is a city of about 1.2 million people. It is a sort of a boutique city. It's a little bit smaller than the big cities. Certainly it is smaller than KL, but I know that Malaysians are a big fan of shopping and you can still find your international brands. We have Zara, we have H&M, we have the Apple store. So you can come and do that. This is Rundle Mall. We are very food obsessed. Malaysians are food obsessed, I know. We love our food in Adelaide too. We've got amazing restaurants and beautiful outdoor dining areas. We are also very coffee obsessed in Australia. Adelaide is the same, and we have great little coffee shops like this one of my favorites here. We also have beautiful beaches. Adelaide is what we call the 20-minute city, so you can get from place to place easily in 20 minutes. So it means you can enjoy the beach after you've studied for the day, and it doesn't even take that long to get there. And we're quite sporting mad. So we've got the Adelaide Oval in the centre of the city where we have our Australian football being played in winter and then cricket in summer. Now, to introduce UniSA, the university, I think everyone wants to know rankings, and I'll just give you these really simple overall ranking. We are a young university and we're in the world's top young universities, number 25 in Times Higher Education and number 29 in the QS rankings. And we have been in that top kind of 30, top 25 to 30 for many, many years now. So we are a very innovative young university. We have 4 campuses, 2 in the city centre, 2 that are outside, and the one that you need to be most concerned about is Mawson Lakes campus, which is 17 minutes north of the city on the train. That is where we teach all our IT programs. So we've got City West, which is our flagship campus in the city centre. We've got City East, also in the city centre. We've got McGill, which you probably won't be likely to visit so much as an IT student. It's more for our psychology and education programs. And then, as I mentioned, Mawson Lakes, which is where we teach IT. Mawson Lakes, as I said, very easy to get around, get to 17 minutes. It's a beautiful suburb with lots of parks and gardens, and it's got everything that you need. The public transport there, just 10 minutes walk from the campus. You're actually in the technology hub, one of the technology hubs of Adelaide called Technology Park, where there's over 80 different businesses. In fact, it says here over 100 different companies actually are in that tech and engineering sector. And as I said, it is a really easy and a nice kind of suburb to live in. You've got everything that you need there, including the shops, restaurants, medical centre and all the facilities. This is showing you the campus. We've got some really great modern spaces, different lecture theatres and different rooms. You've got, of course, all of the on-campus facilities and eating outlets. It is a really spread out open campus, and we've got some community gardens and really nice lawn spaces to relax on. And those of you who are into your fitness, we have on-site gyms across all our campuses, in fact, at UniSA. In case you really are thinking about the potential to study in Australia, Adelaide is a really great city for cost of living. It's one of the cheaper ones in Australia, in fact, one of the cheapest mainland cities. This gives you an example that the cost of living around 4,200 Malaysian ringgit per month, you can easily cover that cost with a part-time job because we have the same minimum pay across all cities of Australia, but Adelaide is a cheaper city for cost of living. So same pay, cheaper cost of living, so more spending money for you. And just as a sort of thing, looking at your future, what your actual timetable would look like in Australia, it's going to be different from being in school or perhaps being in university in Malaysia, because we have sort of 4 subjects that happen at one time, and you can get to choose a bit of flexibility about when they run in terms of the classes. We run 2 semesters, just so that you know. We've got a February intake and a July intake. So that's the way that our academic calendar works. And for our IT programs, they can be commenced in either Feb or July. So let's talk about this whole theme around the future, and I'll link it into what we offer as a university, because I think this really nicely links to Dr. Gerard's model he had before around education, skills, and attitude. So in a very similar way, like, how do you get a job? The whole reason why you study in school, why you study in university, is to get a job, of course. But from a university perspective and from an Australian workplace perspective, a degree does not equal a job. You need a degree, you need experience, as in those skills, you need networks and connections with people. And again, what Dr. Gerard mentioned, you need the right attitude, and this is how you get a job. So at UniSA, we are a practical university. So we are thinking about all the ways that within our curriculum, in the same way that Methodist also does this in their curriculum, we're thinking about how can we include those things that build experience, that build networks. And of course, the attitude, well, that's really up to you, but we try to, help you to have a positive one too, and encourage you in that. So we've got really strong industry connections. We have over 2,500 companies that we work with across the university, and there are always new ones being added as well. And we have an excellent real connection with industry in the career hub. So this is really useful as a student. You can go online. There are so many resources you can go on. There are internships listed or part-time jobs. You can go and get someone to look at your resume and to help you to Australianize it so that it's appropriate for the local market. So these are some of the things that we offer as the services to help you in that sort of future focus that you have on getting a job. So let me just cover for you what exactly are these collaborations. What is this partnership that we have from Methodist diplomas into UniSA degrees? So you can come from the Methodist Diploma in Computer Science into our Bachelor of IT, our Bachelor of Software Engineering Honours, which is normally a 4-year degree, or our Bachelor of Mathematics Data Science. And you can see here that we have approximate, because these are what we call indicative arrangements. We've done some general mapping from the Methodist diplomas into our degrees. And then if you want to get that guaranteed amount to know what am I going to actually, how much credit am I going to get? How long am I going to study? Then you just need to submit an application, and we can tell you exactly course by course what you need to study and how long it's going to take. But this gives you a really strong indication. So you can do a top up of 1 year to do our Bachelor of IT. You can do a top up of 2 years to get an honours degree in software engineering, or about 1.5 years to get that data science. And then you probably already read ahead, but you can also come from the Methodist Diploma in IT into our Bachelor of IT or the Bachelor of Software Engineering. Now these degrees, as you can see, we've got ACS accreditation for those IT and software engineering degrees. That's the Australian Computer Society. And this is another thing to be looking at just in terms of those accreditations and recognition. Our Bachelor of IT or the Bachelor of Software Engineering. Now these... And so we also then, you can see there, we've got the price there per year. And that does, of course, change slightly from year to year. But that's something that you can consider as well. So let me tell you a bit more about being an IT student at UniSA. If you're looking into your future and saying, oh, what would it be like? What kind of facilities am I going to use? What things am I going to do? So we have a system in the way we teach our degrees where within the first 5 weeks of being an IT student at UniSA, our students are involved in activities that help you understand what the user wants. So in IT, any kind of IT computer science job, you are going to have some sort of an end user, whether it be that you are in the IT help desk, you're helping people with the IT issues they might have, or whether you're doing software development, you're creating an app for a client, you've got the client, there's a user there, there's someone there, there's customer service in IT. There's always someone that you're actually, it's a service-based industry. And so we want you to start thinking, what does the user want? What does the customer need? And so we get you to do that through this space here called the Design Studio. This is a fairly new space. We only just introduced it about a year or so ago. And you work in teams, and you basically will have a hypothetical industry project with a problem that you have to solve. So some sort of an IT problem. You work collaboratively, just like you would in a real office environment in a team-based project, and you come up with those solutions. So we've got a space and an actual curriculum where within the first 5 weeks, you'll be doing these kind of projects. It's not that you just wait until your very final year or final semester. Also, we've got a few highlight labs. So this is one of the ones, it's the Cisco Networking Lab. So this is a lab that has been specifically designed and built with the equipment all under the advice of Cisco, obviously one of the world's probably best known networking software platforms. I'm going to see if I can play a video, and if it doesn't work in any case, I am going to actually send you guys a link. But let's have a look, and if one of the Methodist staff just yells out in case it's really not working, just let me know. We'll have a look here. Let me see if we can play it.
Hi, I'm Claudio Sossi. I'm a networking lecturer and I'm a Cisco Academy instructor. Let me take you through for a quick tour of our lab. Our lab features over $300,000 Australian of specialised networking equipment, including routers, switches and security devices. Our Bachelor of IT in Networking and Cybersecurity program, the students will cover the content of the CCNA routing and switching, CCNA security and CCNP routing and switching, all of which, if taken separately, would cost around $30,000 Australian. The lab is made available to them through NetLab 24/7.
Great. All right, that's one of them. And this is another lab I'd love to show you. This is our games lab. So let's have a watch of this video.
My name is Stuart von Itzstein. I am the Program Director for the Computer Games Design program at the University of South Australia. With the ongoing growth of the IT industry and in particular the games industry, we have a lot of employers that are actually looking for students that are capable of building visual interactive systems. We're currently standing in the game design lab for our IT games degree, and in this room we actually have a large amount of equipment designed for virtual reality programming. And we have Alienware boxes, Oculuses, we have Vives, we have a HoloLens, and students will actually use a lot of this equipment as part of their ongoing projects in the course. We've had a number of students from our program end up working in a variety of game design companies, for example, Mighty Kingdom, Ubisoft, 6 Foot Kid, and Monkey Stack. So let me show you some of our students working on a project currently, which is destined to be shown at AvCon this year. How are we doing?
Yeah, not bad. Just doing some bug testing.
Oh, okay, that's great.
So hopefully that's got you a bit excited about where you could be actually taking your degree and what kind of labs you could be using with us. One other thing I want to talk about, of course, we all know about internships and getting into the industry. And at UniSA, we do have projects, final year projects across all of our IT degrees. So all the details are here. Basically, it is available for all IT students across UniSA. It bears credit, it's part of your degree. It goes for 1 semester. We organise it for you. You don't have to organise the company. We will organise it for you. It is not paid. That's very normal in Australia for internships in uni to be unpaid. And the outcome is normally some sort of an actual presentation to the company. So you will actually have a real industry client and be able to actually give that feedback in industry. So these are some of the companies, just a very few of the many, many different companies that we work with for these final year projects, which is definitely a highlight. I just want to give a couple of examples. This is the Fox Vision app, which was a project that some of our software development students did. We have a national car race in Australia called Bathurst. And basically this was an iPhone app where you can watch these cars going around the track, and it was an augmented reality app. So you actually have something physical on the table, and then you can move your phone around and use this sort of AR where you can be seeing and tracking your favorite driver going around the track. So that was a really cool one that actually ended up having multiple thousands of sales on the iPhone App Store. That's such a great thing to be able to then say when you go straight into industry and you've just done it as part of your degree. For those interested in data science, we actually worked with a UK-based rail operator. Energy Miser was the name of the project, and this was basically looking at the arrival and departure times of this train services and trying to optimize that, which is all a very good and clear, interesting example of data science with again, a real industry outcome. I'm always keeping in touch with the joboutlook.gov.au. I could probably do with actually getting some 2021 stats, but I think it's pretty obvious to know that IT is an industry that, unlike many others during the pandemic, has just continued to get stronger and stronger. We all use Zoom now as the most basic example, but the IT industry is not going anywhere. It is just getting bigger and bigger, and there are some really great job outcomes, some job prospects, and really good pay coming out too. So check this website out if you ever want to actually be thinking about that for your future. I also really wanted to highlight that in Adelaide as a city, I did mention it is a slightly smaller city, but we have got international companies actually deciding to make a base here. Again, this slide I need to update because Google and Amazon should be on there, because we've now got a Google base in Adelaide. We have an Amazon base in Adelaide, as well as all of these other very well-known companies, as well as, say, national companies like the Australian Space Agency is now based in Adelaide. And this is one of our other tech hubs. This is right in the city centre called Lot 14, which is a state government initiative. And it's basically a tech hub, as you can see there, right in the middle of the CBD, where there are all these multiple different businesses, big tech businesses, small startups. So it's very exciting times in terms of that. I also just want to highlight a couple of examples of actual students. This guy here, Ken from Malaysia, he did our Bachelor of IT. He actually went for the networking cybersecurity specialization and pursued those Cisco certifications. And now he's working for a local company in Adelaide. You probably never heard of it before. It's a small company, family company, IJF. And this is actually obscure industry. It's a furniture manufacturer. But it just goes to show that every industry needs IT. And so Ken is their IT person for this family business and gets paid well and has some really good opportunities there. On the other hand, some of us aspire to be working for those international firms. We've got another student, Nia, who studied our Bachelor of IT, actually got help through the career services and had a part-time job leading to a full-time job at a local company called Syntelix, then got headhunted on LinkedIn to be working for Honeywell. For those who don't know, this is an international company with many different offices across the world. LA, New York, Adelaide is one of their offices as well. So he now works very close to where I live, in fact, just around the corner, and he's working for this international firm. They're doing a lot in the space of security, I guess the swipe card systems that you tend to see in different places, and QR code type technology. So in giving you all that, hopefully that's got you a bit excited about your potential future in a university such as ours, UniSA. And I'll just re-clarify, just to highlight this for you again, the collaborations and the partnership that we have with Methodist, from the diploma in computer science or the diploma in IT into our degrees in the IT or software engineering. And then for that computer science, we do offer that data science program as well. You're probably wanting to know, if I did come, what are the entry requirements? What's the deal? What are the scholarships? So I'll quickly cover a few aspects there. It's very simple. You come into the Methodist College diplomas, and once you're a diploma student, to transfer to UniSA, you need to successfully complete that diploma. For English, we don't need you to do any English test because we will waive your English based on the fact that you will have done that full diploma and you've learnt it in the English language. And then for the fees, obviously, we're talking the current fees, and in many future years, then the fees will slightly increase, but this shows our current fee structure around 100,000 Malaysian ringgit per year. But that brings me on to scholarships, which everyone wants to know about, and we do have a scholarship. It's the International Merit Scholarship, which is 15% off the whole degree. And what you need to have is a GPA of it will be around 2.5 out of 4 diploma. And as long as you have that, then these scholarships should be available to you. And you just have to bear in mind the duration as well, which we have some rules around that. But yes, we've got those details, including those scholarships too. And if you're really excited and you're so keen right now and you want to know how can I apply and when should I apply, the good thing to know is if you are actually even at a very, very early stage, even if you've only just thinking about maybe starting the Methodist diploma and you won't be transferring for another 2 years, actually, if you want, you could start your application now and we'll give you a conditional offer, or we'll get back to you and we'll say, all right, early stage, more information required. When you've got that information, your transcripts and other details, then you can send it in to us. We do generally recommend applying through an education agent, although it's up to you. I think you've got your coordinators there and your different school counsellors and career counsellors. So make sure that you chat with them, because if you are a Methodist student, you can chat with those people. If you're external, then you can check out our website, UniSA International, to have a look there, because we've got all of our partner agents there too. But that is basically it from me. And so I'll hand back to Sujan, who I think will be checking out if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. Adelaide and the campus sounds absolutely beautiful. I think it's quite interesting as well how both MCKL and UniSA have been talking about not just the knowledge and the certs, but also the skills gained by industry experience, the right attitudes towards learning, actually knowing what's in the industry through internships and projects. That's so important as well. And yeah, it's just amazing and lovely to see education institutions really looking into those things and looking for your students. Anyways, it's time for questions, and we now have currently no questions in the Q&A section below, but I do have some questions prepared for you that may be asked by the students. Well, if you are here listening to the talk right now and you have any questions, it's still not too late to put it in the box below, the section below, and we'll happily get back to you and address your question, definitely. So
yeah, please jump in, guys. Happy to answer them.
Well, I guess the first question is really directed at, well, both of you can answer, but mostly at Dr. Gerard. I think one question that would be asked is that, usually institutions offer a degree. Would a diploma qualification be enough job security? What would employers be looking for nowadays?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Sujay. I think a lot of employers, if you read the papers, a lot of employers always say that fresh graduates are not fully equipped with soft skills. Soft skills is a generic term, which means communication skills, critical thinking, innovation skills, ability to work with others, collaboration as well. So these are some of the things that, and also language. Language is also very important. Okay, especially if you're working in the private sector, you need to be able to speak English. Of course, if you work in the government sector, then the national language will be very, very handy. So it's a lot about skills and skills mainly, but also good attitudes towards your career. You're hardworking, you work smart, you are passionate about your work. So these are all the things that I would say prerequisites to a job, besides having a degree. Like Jackson has mentioned that a degree doesn't equals a job, is it? That used to be equals to a job 20 to 25 years ago. During my time, when I have a degree, I have a master's, I go in, I get a job easily. But today it's so difficult. It's very competitive, because if you throw a piece of stone into a crowd, I tell you, you will hit anyone and everyone, and that person will have a diploma or a degree. So it's very competitive. So you have to be very different. Yeah, that's my advice to the students. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Gerard. I guess the next question would be really, is there a reason why MCKL has really chosen to venture into diplomas like computer science, IT, and digital marketing and e-commerce as well. Like, why these few diplomas, you know?
Okay, I think the world is very digital based right now, very technology driven. Okay, so whether you're studying a diploma or IT degree or computer science, you still need a lot of digital skills. You know, even if you work in marketing field, like Jackson is working in marketing field, he needs to know how to use technology. You know, he needs to know how to use a social media tool to promote. So these are all digital skills and literacies that is very important. So anyone and everyone in the industry requires this capability. If you're not able to use technology to communicate and to sell an idea, then it's going to be very difficult, very tough. Okay, so it's not only studying a computer science, but also having these skills in many different fields to be able to work effectively in today's world. Yeah. So yeah, and of course, with industrial revolution 4.0, the Internet of Things. So a lot of the things that we have today are very connected to the internet, and therefore there will be a lot of requirements and needs for people who can have technical skills to participate in this growing technology. Okay, especially artificial intelligence and data analytics and data science. Okay, these are the major fields, major job opportunities, not very far in the future. Why? Is because today we have collected so much data, and we do not know what to do with them. So we need what we call data scientists to be able to process them into information so that we can make decisions, right? So yeah, whichever angle you look at it, you know, digital skills, computer science is required. Yeah, thank you.
Every industry requires an IT person, someone in computer science, someone handling big data. Well, thank you so much. I think this question can be answered by both, but I'll direct it at Mr. Jackson for now. Do you know if it's easy to get a job studying this computer science course?
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk about, is it easy to get a job in Australia? Because that's what I'm going to represent. So this is a question I always get from people, no matter what degree it is. And the answer is not just a simple yes or no. So I can't say, yes, it is easy to get a job. We wish it would be like that. I think I won't rehash too much, but I think you've heard enough about the things that both Dr. Gerard and I have said. Like, it's more than just about getting a degree. You need those experience, the skills, you need the right attitude, and you know, you need the connections as well. But I guess that paired with that job outlook data that I showed you, like, IT is a growing industry. All the things that Dr. Gerard has just said, increasingly all this stuff, it is building up more and more and more. There is so much data, there's a need for data scientists. Everything is digitizing. So there is more and more need, there is more and more demand in this area. So in that sense, it's a growing industry. There are more and more jobs coming up. That doesn't just mean it's easy to get a job. You still have to work hard. You still have to hustle. But there are students like getting IT jobs and computer science related jobs, data science related jobs, maybe not data scientist or IT manager. You don't start out with that kind of thing. You might start out with a business analyst or junior business analyst or IT assistant. You have to work your way up. But yes, there are jobs, and with that right attitude, with, you know, those skills and the experience, often these jobs, and in a city like Adelaide, if you make enough connections, you might get offered a job without even applying for it. And that's one of the really beautiful things about a city like Adelaide that I do find, and I have experienced myself too.
Dr. Gerard, would you like to add anything from the Malaysian perspective of things, maybe?
Malaysia, if you search on the internet, the Malaysian government is actually looking into data science and also IR4 as one of the trusts to actually spearhead our development. So I believe if there's a government support, there will be industries related to, you know, technology, digital world. Yeah. So that's without a doubt, that's our future. So again, you don't only need knowledge, you need the right attitudes and the right skills. Yeah, thank you.
I think this is our final question to really wrap things up. And I think this is being asked from a student maybe who is trying to figure out their own interests. What are the characteristics or traits required or suitable to study computer science or IT?
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
Gerard, yep.
Yeah, definitely computing comes from the word, computer science, computing comes from the word mathematics, compute. So again, a good foundation in mathematics is very, very crucial, but of course, an average skill in mathematics is also possible for you to study computing. Why? Because after you finish studying computing, you may not end up writing programs, okay, per se, but you could be a support person, application support person, which may not require a lot of computational skills, but a lot more customer support skills, being able to set up a system and be able to manage and maintain the system. So there are many fields and professions in the computing world. You can even be a salesperson in the computing world. One time I heard an IBM sales general manager earning close to 60,000 per month in Malaysia. That's a lot of money. Okay, so yeah, this field is there's a lot of potential, I believe. And my background is computing, and I love computing, and always aim to work in the computing field. But somehow or other, I'll be move to something else. I don't know why. That's my career. Okay, so that's a bit about the scenario in Malaysia.
Yep. Thank you so much, Dr. Gerard, and thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. I think that's all the time we have left for questions, and I think the message is very clear. Like, no matter what pathway you choose, make sure you not only gain knowledge, but to future-proof yourself, you need to learn how to learn and have the right attitudes to excel in any career you choose. If there are any more questions that are unanswered that you have in you, feel free to contact our marketing team. They're always available for you to ask questions, to discuss options, and to counsel you in your courses. Thank you so much also to our speakers today, Dr. Gerard and Mr. Jackson, if I haven't thanked you enough yet, and also the organizing team behind the scenes. Now, there'll be a feedback form available in the chat, so if you could just fill that in and let us know what you think about this webinar, it will be great. Thank you so much. Now, before we end, I'll just like to remind you that, hey, this series is an ongoing web series, is aimed to talk about the fast-paced world and learn directly from people in the industry or people who have insights into the industry and see what are these things people are on about? What is the Internet of Things? What is data science? What is digital marketing? So if you're interested in these topics, look out for our social media posts. Our next talk, you can mark your calendars right now, is on 29th of October. It's a Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. And I believe the marketing team will put a link in the chat as well for you to be able to register for that. In that particular session, we'll be exploring the field of the Internet of Things. And if you're interested to know what it is, like I am, because I have no clue what's going on, please feel free to join us. Stay tuned for more information. And again, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you, Dr. Gerard. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Everyone.